Wake the fuck up!
Well, a very eventful week last week in terms of today's episode topic, the main topic. I guess we can start with what we usually start with, for a few minutes. Kind of go over the week. Anything big?
Built a shelf yesterday.
Nice.
It's about
Andy Man Johnson.
as exciting as it's gotten for me this week, I tell you what.
Yeah, I don't think there's been too much going on. A lot of my stores that I worked at even were slower for whatever reason. So I guess I got a shorter week. That's kind of a nice thing after we're in a couple weeks with overtime. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, we're in the period, Dan. This is the filler episode of my life. Was this week?
That was the filler.
There's just not much,
I guess I got my Girl Scout cookies, and I will say that the Adventurefuls, I think I said I was gonna put above the Do-si-dos. So there's everything below the Do-si-dos pushed down, and then the Adventurefuls put up. But I was very happy. Got a very cute picture. Her mom was the one who delivered it. It's a family friend, and she sent me a picture. It was like those Fisher-Price people toy things, holding a piece of paper that said thank you, and she was sitting behind it, big smile on her face, and I was like, might have to buy more cookies if that's
You've been influenced.
Very, very cute. I'm sure she has many return customers if that's her selling point every year. But yeah, good cookies. Appreciated the delivery. Is really I ordered it, and then 2 days after she was up in Fort Dodge, so I was like, man, it was quick, real quick. Cookies are running out quick too. I really go through those bad boys.
Yeah, I've had to sort of restrain myself from
Ration
going through
out.
the other, because those Adventurefuls I went through super quick.
Oh yeah, I think
but it was
really gonna put myself in a corner here, but I'm pretty sure I ate them in a day.
I got the box, Dan, and here's the problem was that I put them on my desk.
Yep. I had them in my bedroom next to me while I was playing Switch, and yeah, all went downhill from there. That was the first big and the most critical mistake, if we're being honest. Yeah, if you put stuff out in your kitchen, you're less likely to get it, I think, because then you have to get up and you have to go all the way out there, and you're like, well, I don't want to take too many, so I'll just take a few, and then it's like, well, if I want to go get more, I have to do that whole thing over and over and over and over again. Whereas, keep the box right next to you, easy access. You're not even hungry, you just like the taste of it. So it's like, well, I'll just take some more then. Before you know it, you reach back in, box is empty.
Exactly.
Trying times out here. Gotta have some restraint. But you did mention you had the good segue filler episode. I don't think we had any filler episodes in what our episode is about today, but Peacemaker.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Very good show.
Big day.
Before we delve into it, we'll do the same thing that we did with our No Way Home that we did. If you haven't seen the show and you really don't want any spoilers, that's essentially what this whole episode is going to be. So as much as we appreciate everyone's listenership on every episode, if you still want to watch the TV show Peacemaker spoiler free, we suggest that you do that. And of course, the episode's going to be on Spotify till the end of time. The asteroids, meteors, whatever is going to end us can come, and they'll still be sitting on all of our podcast stuff, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. So you can always go and watch the episodes come back next week, next month. Next year would be stretching it, I would say, if you really want to watch it. Get down to it, brass tacks. You can probably get a free trial. Binge that baby on the weekend.
There's a second season coming too, probably next year. So you're already behind if you haven't watched it.
That's true. You better get on that. But just all this to say, smush it all together and say, if you want to watch it spoiler free, don't don't listen to this episode yet, you can always come back later after you've watched the episode and really enjoy it, get into it. Let us know how you kind of relate to everything, you disagree with us on everything, or if we were truing on everything. But
yeah, type really mean comments to us for everything you disagree with us on, you know?
Please, yeah. Give us 5-star ratings still, though. But, like, you can...
Oh, true, yeah.
You can put it in the comments. Subscribe so you can keep commenting nasty things on all of our episodes, but... All right.
Yeah, that would really make us mad if you would subscribe and then comment on every single one of our episodes.
You have to subscribe,
God, I would be
You have to
furious.
subscribe, though, otherwise we're not going to be...
Yeah, true, because you don't want to miss one.
Yeah. All right. All the rambling and raving and everything out of the way. Peacemaker. Parker, I'll let you start because you were really, like, into it from the beginning. I think I waited till, like, the end of that first week to even think about watching it, and then I watched it, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I knew it because after, like, the 2021 The Suicide Squad movie is, like, probably one of my favorite superhero movies, you know? Like, it's a real good one. And then I saw that they were making a spin-off for Peacemaker, and I was real hesitant at first, but I saw that it was, like, James Gunn, of course, the same director from the movie, like, doing the TV show, and I was like, all right, like, maybe there's something here. And I watched the first 3 and I was like, all right, like, I was into it, and then I kept watching, and it was a real solid show. There's people saying it's like the best superhero show. I think I might like Loki better.
Yeah.
And like the original Netflix Daredevil better, probably. But I think it's real solid. And they did a lot of stuff that a lot of superhero shows like usually obviously can't because they're not like on HBO with like no restrictions at all and like
that is true, yeah.
Things that they won't, you know. So I thought, you know, this is probably like a solid 8.5 out of 10.
I wanted to talk about too how I don't want to say that I guess Marvel dug their own grave because obviously they're still like doing well and everything, but now they have this annoying thorn in their side thanks to themselves because of everything that happened with like old tweets came up or something. So they were like, yeah, we're not going to let him do Guardians of the Galaxy anymore. And then DC goes, whoa, we've got this guy who did 2 of the more like outlandish, funny, but still like, you know, there's heartwarming elements to it. There's action and all that in Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. And so they're like, well, you know, we really want to redo the Suicide Squad thing. We hear you're free. How about you come over for us and do this? And he's like, yeah, fuck it. Why not? Yeah. They're like, you can pretty much do whatever you want. Holy shit. And he just knocked it out of the park with Suicide Squad. So then I think Marvel kind of like, they were like, whoa, wait a second. Everybody makes mistakes, you know. Why don't you come back and do Guardians of the Galaxy 3? So he's still doing that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 movie, but now he's also, you know, he's branching out and doing other stuff. Which is cool, and it worked out big time for DC because they had the good Suicide Squad movie. And I was the same way. I was like, they said they were going to do that Peacemaker show. I think there was like a clip at the end of Suicide Squad that shows that he's still alive. Peacemaker is. Mm-hmm. And then, so they announced. I don't think it was too much later on, maybe a month or 2, that they were going to do the TV show. I was like. I was the same way. I was like, out of everybody, really, in that movie, we're going to do a Peacemaker spinoff? We couldn't do something else, but you watched that first episode and you were like, yeah, it's really good. I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And then you watched even just the opening credits. I will say this is the only TV show, all 8 episodes, I watched every single opening credits. I didn't do the skip intro thing, which is a very interesting thing to do when it's that readily available, but it's just hilarious, and the choreography in it is insanely good. I remember the actress who plays Harcourt like showed her practicing the choreography, and that was like really like not only being able to do the choreography, but being able to do it with the fucking they have like those cement faces where it's just their they have the same facial expression the entire time.
Yeah, I was going to ask you where you stood on that, because I know there are people I've talked to who do not like the intro and skip it every time.
I think there's people who, like, they absolutely hate it because they want this. They just want the superhero TV show, and they want the action and, like, the good story and stuff, which is fine. But it's just so fucking funny that there's a superhero TV show that just does this weird fucking, like, interpretive opening thing.
Yeah, I think... I wonder how much time and resources went into it, though.
Oh, it had to be so much. Just everybody having to learn the individual choreography and getting the... I mean, you already have to get the music, I guess, for an intro, but the choreography and the emotion of it, getting everybody to be straight-faced the entire time, because, like, that's got to be the hardest part of the whole thing. I imagine multiple shoots that had to be... I would think you'd have to take up the majority of a day doing that, just because nobody can crack. But it's, I liked it a lot. Yeah,
the song was stuck in my head for, like, the whole, like, after the first 2 weeks of episodes. Then I finally shook it, but, like, before it was
also very cool, I thought, in the last episode, how during the big action sequence that they used it.
Yeah, and then they made it, like, sort of warp out of the key.
Yeah, when everything started to go to shit.
Yeah.
It was a really, Do you want to dissect it episode by episode, or you just kind of want to...
I mean, we can just, like, see, like, what there are. I've got, like, the episodes up. I'm, like,
do you have it pulled up?
Because it was, like, the first 3 episodes dropped at once, right? So, like, those kind of blend together for me, because I think I watched them all in one day.
I suppose so.
Mm-hmm. It was... I'm trying to think. The first episode was real good because it, like, showed you, like, okay, this is what butterflies are with, like... And, like, sort of... I don't really want to say introduced, because, like, half of the main 6 characters, like, were in the Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
but,
that's
like,
right.
They each sort of had their little individual thing.
That's true, yeah.
And then that was also, I think they dropped the thing about Leota being Amanda Waller's daughter.
Yeah. That is
which was
pretty insane.
Yeah, a big point.
It's cool because she's just this girl that doesn't want to, like, she really doesn't want to have anything to do it, and Waller is just this insane fucking person who's, you know, has no problem manipulating anybody or doing any wrongdoing or anything.
Mm-hmm. Then I'm trying to think what else really happened in those first episodes. Oh, shout out Judo Master too.
Oh yeah, he's a very
he's
funny
just in
character.
this thumbnail, and I just fucking remember him now. Shit's so fucking funny.
Yeah, in the Goth episode. Number 2 is the one where you learn about that side story where Peacemaker's dad goes to prison, and he's the White Dragon, that white supremacist supervillain.
Dude, the ending of that episode was what made me, like, convinced to keep watching.
Well, because that's the whole thing, is he's going to jail, and I guess the whole time I'm like, oh, he's this, like, really racist dude. He's gonna be in with, like, all the really racist groups in the prison. But then they, like, he tells that dude to get up out of the seat, and all the other fucking crazy racist white supremacist dudes walk over like they're gonna beat the shit out of the guy, and he's like, it's not worth it. And they get on their knees and they start bowing to him. I'm like, oh my god, this is actually insane.
Because it's such a bold thing to take on, especially in, like, a superhero show where it's like everything's usually like, oh, this is, like, very bad in, like, a, like, outlandish, super crazy sort of way, and it's like this one, it's like this is like a supervillain, but he's like somebody that you could know in, like, a small town, which is crazy to think about, and also like makes him a way better villain, I think.
I think it's a very insane dynamic that you get introduced to in those first 3 episodes too, where obviously like his dad fucking hates him because he keeps saying that he killed his brother, but like we can get into that later about how it's really not what happened, and but you learn that, I mean, Chris kind of relies on his dad because he makes all of that, the technology and the Peacemaker helmets and stuff, and so he just kind of has to roll with the punches, I guess. But speaking of the Peacemaker helmets, I don't think we really got much of that or any of it in Suicide Squad. But then that first episode, after he gets out of jail and has sex with some random girl in a bar, that she's one of the butterflies and tries to kill Chris, and then he uses the sonic boom helmet, which blows up so much shit. Turns her... That's another thing, like you said, about being on HBO Max. They can kind of do whatever. She just kind of turns into a puddle of goo, a bunch of blood and viscera and everything.
Yeah, that's one of the big things about this one. Is shit's kind of gross sometimes.
Yeah, it gets gory. Well, he's done that before too. If you haven't seen the movie Brightburn, it's a James Gunn movie, kind of like what would happen if Superman came to the planet and wasn't decided not to be a good guy. A lot of blood and gore and everything in that movie, so he's not afraid to do that. And then it showed again in this TV show. We get to see Eagly. Get introduced to Eagly in the first.
Bro, shout out to Eagly, man.
Yeah, you don't really see him do. He's funny. He's the comedic relief, or just a comedy element. There's a lot of them.
I was gonna say, yeah, you could argue that for any character.
One of the comedy elements in this show. You don't really see him do really any fighting until I can't remember which episode. It's probably one of the midway episodes, 4 or 5. So he gets his time to shine, but he's also just really funny in the TV show. Hugs Peacemaker a couple of times. Cool to see an eagle hug a guy.
Yeah, I was sad to see that it was all visual effects, but then I thought about it and I was like, yeah,
that'd be really hard to do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A lot of the stuff that he does in the show. But yeah, I think you kind of just together we summed up most of it. You get introduced to the butterflies. You get to see an actual butterfly in episode 3.
Yeah.
The crazy part where they drink that, like, their food source, which is like like a straw come out of the mouth of the person. It's, oh my gosh.
Then episode 4 I thought was real good. That's like when they're like trying not to get Peacemaker to like go visit his dad, but then you see like you said, he kind of has the reliance like because of the technology, but I think you also see in that episode that it's like deeper than that, kind of, that he's like emotionally manipulated like big time
because he's been trained, right? Augie, his dad, tried to train him, I think, to be the same as him, just this racist like killing machine, and you kill like no matter what. And obviously, like he was like a young kid in the flashbacks. He looked like he was like 6 or well, maybe not 6 or 7, maybe like 10. So you just like don't know any better. If your parents tell you to do something, you just kind of do it because you idolize them, especially if like it's only one parent around. And yeah, so he just kind of does whatever his dad tells him to.
Yeah, then Vigilante. We haven't talked about Vigilante yet.
No, yeah, this is kind of when he's... I guess episode 3 is kind of where he starts to pick up, because there's a point where Peacemaker is supposed to snipe the butterflies, but they actually look like people. So it's like he doesn't want to kill this family. There's 2 kids, a wife, a husband. And then Vigilante is just like... It's kind of a nice moment at first, because he's like, hey, dude. He's like, scoot over for a second. And he gets out of the sniper. And then Vigilante gets into it, and he just picks off 3 of them, except for Goff, who comes back later in the show. The butterfly does, at least. Gets part of his toe sawed into. Doesn't think he's ever going to be able to stand up ever again, but obviously we see he recovers. pretty quickly. But yeah, that's kind of your introduction, and then from there on in, he becomes more of an established character, like in episode 4. But sorry, what were you gonna say about him?
Yeah. This was the one where he like goes to into prison because he's like wants to kill Peacemaker's dad.
Yeah, he's obsessed with Peacemaker, right? Throughout the show, that's kind of
and there's
they're crazy best friends to him, but to Peacemaker, I mean, they're probably friends still, but not on the same level as it is to Vigilante.
Yeah, but it had one of my favorite scenes was in this episode where it's like White Dragon and like all of his white supremacist sort of like henchmen, I guess. I don't really know how to describe it. But he like goes up to them and he's like, "Hey guys, let's all go around and say our favorite contributions that black people have made to America."
Yeah, which obviously, he knows his audience. He's trying to get them riled up. From the get-go, he's like, the guys at the table are all just like, is this guy serious? You know who he's talking to? Mm-hmm. And then I think one of them, or they all kind of just get fucking pissed off, and he beats the shit out of all of the guys with White Dragon, with Augie.
Doesn't beat up White Dragon though.
No, because I can't remember what happens.
He's the one who he knows if he gets in a fight that he's in prison longer.
Oh yeah, that's true. And then he figures out, he says something, Vigilante does to...
He says he's a shitty dad.
Oh, yeah, so then he starts yelling for his lawyer, because when Chris goes to visit White Dragon, his dad, in prison, he, like, spills the beans that... Oh, what was it? The whole reason he got put into prison was there was fingerprints on the car, and so then John Economos, local big brain hacker man, changes the fingerprints on the car that were blown up from Peacemaker's to his dad's. So then his dad gets thrown in prison. And then in this episode 4, when Peacemaker goes to visit his dad, he says, "Hey, they switched the fingerprints on the car. I'm in on this crazy huge like thing going on with these alien butterflies and everything." And you kind of maybe expect your dad to be like, "Yeah, okay, I'll take the bullet for you. I'll bite the bullet. I'll serve the time, and we'll get everything figured out once everything gets done." But instead, he goes, "You fucking piece of shit. I hate you. You're a shitty son. I'm snitching on you the first chance that I get." So then, after Vigilante tells Augie, White Dragon, that he's a shitty dad, he starts calling for his lawyer. He's ready to get the hell out of there. Mm-hmm. He's going to snitch the first moment he gets.
Yeah. That's about the gist of 4. And then yes. 5 was such a good episode.
5 is when we get introduced to Locke, right? Because Augie is going to snitch, and Locke is this crazy friend of Mern's, who is just this insane killer, like cold-blooded dude who goes and I don't think it's ever explained if he kills the police chief or I think it's the sheriff. If he kills the sheriff, or if he just like
he probably kills the sheriff.
You assume he has to kill whoever it was. And then he takes over, and he gets told by... Oh, I can't remember what her name is. It's the... that detective.
Oh, Sophie Song.
Yes, Sophie Song. She goes and tells him, she's like, "Hey, we've got the wrong guy on this. There's no way it's Augie. It's gotta be his son, Chris." He says it. He says the fingerprints were faked, and he's like, "Nope, we're dropping this case. This is it. You're done. Go find something else to do. Bye-bye." And she doesn't take that lying down, and he pretty much just keeps reiterating that until later in the show when stuff happens.
Yeah. But that one's it's mostly just like an episode, because it's like the one where they go... I forget where it is. It's some plant where they're like packing food for all the butterflies.
I'm trying to
and
remember.
they go and there's like a fucking gorilla that's got like butterfly strength.
Yeah.
Which is fucking nuts. But then they're all fucked, right? Like it's Vigilante, Harcourt, who's like one of the other main like actual fighters in the group, and then Peacemaker, all like fucked up by this thing. And then John Economos, the tech guy, right?
The nerd
comes in
the guy who does nothing.
Comes in with a chainsaw, fucking saws this bitch.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah. Vigilante not too happy about it. He wanted to be the man to saw the gorilla with the chainsaw. He wanted to take the chainsaw in the first place.
Yeah, dude. That's another thing about this whole show that is so good. Is it's like every episode almost it feels like there's like an element that's introduced, and you're like, oh, that's probably like a throwaway joke, and then suddenly it's like a major part of the episode.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Like
foreshadowing. Baby.
For example, this one was like. Fucking Vigilante was like revving up the chainsaw, and he was Harcourt, who's like the sort of straight no nonsense, was like, all right, we don't need a chainsaw for this, and he's like, oh, sad, disappointed that he doesn't get to use the chainsaw. And then later in the episode, fucking Economos comes and uses the chainsaw, and it's like, okay, that's fucking sick. Very
true. We also get another view of the powers of the Peacemaker helmet. There's so many different ones that they had, and so he uses the X-ray one when they go into this factory because they don't know if it's they're butterflies or not. So with this X-ray helmet, what he can do is see into the people's head and see if there's a butterfly. Well, we learn probably about after a minute or two getting into the factory, okay, it's pretty plain to see all these people have butterflies in them. So it's kind of they're just going ham on everybody. But then we see later on Adebayo, who is Amanda Waller's daughter, goes and plants a diary in Peacemaker's home because they want to get him back into prison. So they're implicating him if they put this diary in there. There's all this stuff in the diary, and everything will go back to the way it was. She's struggling with it. She's a very moral person. She doesn't want to kill anybody. Doesn't want to do anything she doesn't have to. But she's got to do this job for her mom to get some money. Back at the office with Mern, the guy who's heading up this whole project. She sees the helmet. She wants to mess with the X-ray helmet, and then we get what's got to be one of the biggest twists in the show, where she turns to Mern with the X-ray helmet, and there's a butterfly in his head.
Mm-hmm. Which they reveal that Mern's a butterfly before that.
They do?
Yeah, what? You didn't know?
No, I didn't know that.
No, yeah, like at the end of one of the episodes, they like show him eating like out of one of those bowls.
I didn't know that. What the hell? Did I miss that?
Did you?
I
Did you watch this show, Dan?
Yes, I watched this show.
Do you need to tune out of the spoiler cast right now?
Where was it? Which episode was it?
It was before 5.
Damn, I don't remember that. That's why I was so surprised with the butterfly in his head.
No, yeah, like they show it before, but that's like the first time that like any of the characters know,
Yeah, maybe I knew he was a butterfly, but then it was just I thought the first time somebody found out. But then we find out in episode 6 that obviously that is not the case, that she is not the first one to find out that Myrna is a butterfly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, 5 was pretty good. It was a good episode.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 is when it starts out, getting to find out, like, Adebayo's getting explained that Mern is a butterfly, but he's going against the wishes of the other butterflies who have come to take over the planet, is our knowledge at this point. Mm-hmm. And Adebayo learns that she's not the first one to know, that Johnny Economos and Harcourt both also knew about Goth being a butterfly. But Amanda Waller does not know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of them seeing if they can trust her to... Well, they don't know at this point, I guess. It's it's us seeing who she's more loyal to at that point. But
Yeah.
Mern says that the butterflies came from a dying planet, and the Goth butterfly led everybody in a plant to dominate the Earth, and Mern is the only butterfly that has gone against them.
Well, was it that way?
Pretty sure it was.
Wasn't Locke the new police chief? Wasn't he also working with Mern?
Oh, he was working with Mern. He wasn't a butterfly though.
Really?
Because we see later in the episode where, what is it? Where Song gets the Goth butterfly, and she lets all the butterflies come in. Locke locks himself in the office, but the butterflies break the glass and they get in and take him over. Yeah. I'm assuming that Locke is a friend of Mern, and since the butterflies, Mern explains, I'm pretty sure in that episode, that they get all the memories and everything from whoever their host is. So I'm sure he knew that him and Locke were friends, and so gets Locke to come in.
Yeah. Which also, this episode is so fucking sick, because, like, I don't know why this scene sticks out to me so much, but James Gunn uses the song Monster, because he always uses music fucking perfectly. But it's like that scene, and it's like Detective Song, who at this point now is like a butterfly.
Yes,
getting
she is the head butterfly.
Yeah, getting like all the butterflies taking over, and then it's also parallel with fucking like White Dragon getting out of prison and like getting all of his sort of like henchmen organized.
Yeah,
and it's such a sick scene. It's so cool.
This is the shit going downhill episode. They do just so much in this fucking episode. So since the butterflies take over everybody, what is it? They find the diary in this episode, right? Is it 6?
I think she plants it in 6 and they find it in 7.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, I might be wrong, but like
6, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah. Mern reveals to Autobio the butterfly stuff. To Locke's dismay, Song releases Augie from prison and acquires an arrest warrant for Smith. At Smith's trailer, the Goth butterfly attempts to communicate with Smith and Chase.
You just reading me a summary?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Oh, this is the episode. Because stupid fucking vigilante, they're getting away from the cops when they've got the warrant to come into the house, and they're climbing on top of the trailer. They go into the tree. Vigilante, does he sneeze or something?
I don't know.
He does something stupid that you're waiting for him to do, because he usually does something stupid, and he falls out of the tree. Well, he's got the jar with the Goth butterfly in it, falls down out of the fucking tree, breaks the jar, and the butterfly gets out. And takes over Sophie Song, the extremely strong-headed detective, who is extremely against vigilante, which means he's probably very against the entire, organization of them, Harcourt and Autobio and all those people. So they get the diary, since they had the warrant from there, and since the butterflies haven't come or anything yet, Locke, when they go back to the police station, puts the diary in a drawer and locks it away.
Right.
And then, like you said, we get that crazy, really cool scene. All the butterflies flood into the precinct, take over like everybody in that precinct. A bunch of prisoners, all of the detectives and officers and everything, and takes over Locke too. That's one of the coolest things you see, I think, in that scene. Is I think they end that whole sequence with the butterflies, just a shit ton of them pushing up against the glass, and they break through the glass and take over Locke.
Yeah, because he like locks himself in the room.
Yep. And then we see at the end of that episode, Augie puts on the White Dragon armor, and Vigilante and Peacemaker are, I can't remember somebody's house, I think. And the TV comes on, and it is the butterfly lock and all of the officers at like a press conference thing, and they have the diary, using it to incriminate Peacemaker and put out an arrest warrant for him. Mm-hmm. And that is how episode 6 ends.
Yeah, that's the, like you said, it's the shit goes down episode. Because the episode before that was like such a happy one, you know.
Yep.
They have like the together. 11th Street Kids thing going on.
Yeah, that's right.
Like the little picture, and it's like, oh.
Harcourt's got a super hard exterior, and it kind of starts to break. You see her with some smiles. She takes that picture. I think, doesn't she start a group chat for him in that episode too?
Yep.
It's a very cool episode. The team's starting to come together. They're all these very, like, closed off, keep to themselves people, just do the job and get out. They don't want to work with Peacemaker at all. He seems like a piece of shit. So they're all just ready to be done, and they start to come together. Nothing's too bad. And then 6 happens, and 7 happens. 7, there's a little bit more of a rift, because for the most part, Adebayo and Peacemaker were, they were kind of close.
Yeah, they formed their friendship, like, forming throughout the show is real.
I think it's the first or second episode you can kind of tell that it's there. But then he learns that she was the one that planted the diary, and I'm pretty sure they learn in this episode as well. Everybody learns that she is Amanda Waller's daughter.
Yeah. Which that's what it like forms a rift like real bad, and that's why this episode it's a lot like Harcourt and Adebayo sort of like getting closer, because they sort of see Myrn get killed.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
He dies in this episode.
Very sad. Very sad. We also have kind of our first glimpse of White Dragon in combat and everything. It's him in the armor. It's not really
much of a first glimpse. It's also
I guess you see the armor before
a last glimpse.
Well, that is true, yeah. So Augie and all of the followers are tracking Chris and stuff through a forest. They're pretty sure that they probably can't beat him if they keep getting tracked down, so they're trying to figure out what it is, which is where the funny tweet I saw comes into play that says, as long as James Gunn is in filmmaking, there will be a place for raccoons in filmmaking, because Rocket Raccoon, obviously not a real raccoon, CGI, and voiced by Bradley Cooper, in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Very funny character. And also we see an actual real-life raccoon in the Peacemaker TV show, because they start to think that maybe since Augie made the helmets, that he's tracking them through the helmets. So they take a string, tie it to the raccoon, and take the other end and tie it to the helmet, and set the raccoon loose. And sure enough, the followers are following the raccoon with the helmet. So they figure they need to ditch the helmets, which comes back into play after they find Vigilante and get in the car and say that they found out that he's tracking the helmets, and they look in the trunk of the car and Vigilante has the rest of the helmets. So they're still being tracked. Mm-hmm. Which comes to one of the harder hitting parts of the episode, or the series, where Vigilante, I'm pretty sure he gets into the suit and like kind of tears it up, because you obviously know that it's powered armor, so if he doesn't have the extra strength and the flames and everything coming out. And we've seen flashbacks up to the point of this episode, and even maybe in the episode, where you see that Peacemaker, I mean, you kind of get the gist that through his dad saying it, that he killed his brother, so you don't really know how he killed his brother, but then you see it was this thing where his dad was running these fights, and I think they were like just having people bet on them.
Yeah, it was a super fucked up like country fight.
Yeah, him and his brother would fight each other, And so they're just people screaming like, yeah, end it, get him. And so he punches his brother, and he goes down, and I mean, he's a kid, so he's like, hey man, come on, get up, it's over. Like, I won. I'm just better than you, I guess. And then he starts seizing up, and he's foaming out of his mouth. And obviously, this is on his dad, because his dad's orchestrating these whole things, making his brothers fight, training him to be a killer. And he gets in his face, and he's like, you piece of shit, you killed your fucking brother. You killed your brother. I'll never forgive you for this. You fucking piece of shit. I hate you. And so I think this scene is kind of him coming to grips with that, too, because Chris has got a gun. His dad is helpless. And it's him doing what he does anytime they're together in an episode. And he's like, fucking kill me. Do it. You can't do it. You're a little bitch. You're a pussy. And he's in the middle of saying something to him, and he just shoots his dad right in the head.
Mm-hmm. I was really wondering. I thought this would be another moment where Vigilante like took the trigger from him again, sort of, in a way, you know.
I thought it was. I didn't know if it was going to be
have to do it.
Something where they just get him hauled off somewhere or whatever, like to a really high security place, like in Arkham or something. But no, he did it. Which obviously it's like, I think that was the dichotomy of that whole relationship. Is it's this terrible fucking villain who is a white supremacist, racist, terrible ass person, extremely sexist. They did everything in the series to make you hate that guy with a burning passion. But you also see it from Peacemaker's view, where like it's his dad, you know? What's he supposed to do?
Yeah, it's a real interesting way to do something like family trauma, where like,
right,
you know, this thing that's like not his fault, but he's been like convinced throughout like his entire life by this guy that he admires, like, that it was his fault. And,
yeah.
like, yeah.
So this was a very heavy episode because that happens, and then obviously Myrn dies, and it's also one of the points where you see more humanity towards a butterfly, because Harcourt goes over and she picks up the butterfly that was in Myrn's head, and they kind of, you know, does it grab her finger or something?
I think so, yeah.
And it's pretty heartfelt moment, and it's also the point of, what the fuck do we do? Like, he was the only reason we knew what we were doing, even had a hint as to anything, to know to go to the gland tie, that's what it was, bottling plant, just came to my head again, where they discovered that's where that stuff was from. The only reason that they knew there was a cow was because of the butterfly that Myrn had. So it's like, it's over. We're done.
The cow being the source of their food. We kind of brushed over that.
Yeah, but no, that is the source. And so that's their whole thing in these last two episodes. They're trying to find the cow, because if they cut off the food source, the butterflies can't survive. And because that's the only thing they can eat. Mm-hmm. And without that, they're done for, and now they don't know where it is. So it's kind of that heartfelt moment where Autobile's like, well, you know, we've got a leader still. You're here. And they she
doesn't say you're here. It's more of like they all look at her, you know.
Yeah.
It's a cool moment in that way, where it's like
they
don't have to say it, but like they know, you know.
Right. And then it's also a sad scene after all that stuff happens. They're at a vet clinic, and you get the funny moment when you go into the vet clinic, because Vigilante has all these like veterinarians. Sorry, veterinary. I was thinking vets, and then I was like, well, I didn't just want to say vets, so I'll say the whole word.
They all had dogs, and they were like taking care of them at the vet, but
it was veterinarians, and all the vets, they were like tied up and everything, and Vigilante's like, we gotta fucking kill them. We gotta kill them. They know who we are, and everybody's like, we don't have to fucking kill them, you idiot.
Yeah,
they're veterinarians.
One of the best bits throughout the whole show is Vigilante being like super protective about his secret identity, because there's the scene in episode 3 where the butterfly goth has him kidnapped, and he like unmasks him, and he like keeps doing stupid shit with his face.
Oh yeah.
Peacemaker's like, the fuck are you doing? And he's like, I can't let him know my secret identity.
But keep moving my face, you
like,
won't be able to identify me.
Yeah.
And I think is it episode 2 where they go to the prison? 2 or 3?
Where they go to the prison for Peacemaker's dad?
Yeah. Oh, that's 4.
That's 4, yeah.
Yeah. Autobio is like, she's like, hey, Vigilante. And he's like, who is Vigilante? I have never heard that name in my life. He sounds like a cool guy, but I don't know him. And she's like, I know who you are, you fucking idiot. And he's like, he sounds like a really cool guy. And he's like, or she could be a girl. It's like, dude, just stop. She knows. But yeah, he's like really overprotective of nobody knowing who he is. But after that, we go into the scene where Adebayo is watching Peacemaker and Eagly. Eagly is on the table. You don't know if he's good or not. And this is kind of also the point where Adebayo, she's ready to get out. She's for most of the series just doesn't think she's cut out for it. Doesn't want to be like Amanda Waller. She wants to be done. She doesn't want to go help with the cow or anything. And it's a really sad moment with Peacemaker because you think that Eagly might be gone, and then Eagly starts to wake up and he hugs Peacemaker. And Adebayo sees it. Adebayo gets told in one of those first 3 episodes that Eagly hugged Peacemaker. Peacemaker's like, yeah, he hugged me. Pretty fucking cool. And she's like, there's no way in hell that an eagle hugged you. And he's like, no, it happened.
Oh, and the line exactly he says after that is, if you don't want to believe in miracles, that's on you. Which is a raw as fuck line.
That is, yeah. And Eagly hugs him, and she sees it this time. So she's like, I'm going to take it as a sign. I'm in. So they're like, I think they're in that clinic, and they're like, well, who the hell is going to lead us? And everybody, I don't know if they look at Harcourt exactly.
They
or
look at Harcourt.
That's what I thought. So she just kind of starts spewing out the plan and everything, and they're getting ready to go. And then the veterinarians, we pan back to them with the camera, and they're like, we're in. And don't they have guns?
I think they do. I think
I'm
you're
pretty
right.
sure one of them cocks a shotgun.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, no. Harcourt and that whole group, they're like, no. Sorry. You guys are going to stay here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the whole thing now is we've got this last episode, and it's either they get to this cow and they end the butterflies, or the butterflies are going to teleport this cow. They're building their teleporter, getting all the technology and everything, and if they teleport that cow, they're back to square one. They don't know where it's at. The butterflies are going to have their food source and everything, and now they know that there's people that know they're there. So obviously, things are going to kind of speed up in their plan.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much the end of 7, right?
Yeah.
And now we are in the final act of season 1, episode 8.
And right away, like, everything in the plan goes to shit.
We also haven't really talked about how funny the titles are. Episode 8, they're going after the cow. It's either the cow or nothing. So we've got episode 8, it's cow or never.
Yeah.
Better Goth dead when they meet the Goth.
Stop dragging my heart around.
Yes. But it's cow or never, episode 8. Like you said, yeah, there's still a little bit of a tension. Adebayo is trying to apologize to Peacemaker, and he's making fart sounds. Vigilante being the guy best friend, the best
the little
friend,
brother.
Yes, the little brother.
Literally, that's
that
what
is a
it
good
is.
way. Yeah, looks up to Peacemaker, starts making fart sounds too. Peacemaker has to tell him to knock it off at a certain point. That's kind of the whole one of their relationship type things is that Peacemaker will do something, and then Vigilante tries to piggyback off of it to get some recognition. Once Peacemaker will laugh at him, but he usually just tells him to knock it off. At
first, like, throughout the series at points, I was like, all right, like, Vigilante's funny, but like at points I was like, all right, he's just getting annoying, and I was like, well, that's kind of the point, though. I think.
Yeah. But.
So I was like, well, I won't fault it for that, you know.
But after all that, after the back and forth, they get to they're at the farm. They've learned. Oh, I know I saw it in this that I'm looking at. What the name of the farm was? Coverdale Ranch. That is where the cow's at. So they figure it's underground, and there's this huge barn. Everybody who's been taken over by the butterflies outside of it, perfect. It's got to be in there. So Adebayo gets a hold of Waller, asks for any backup, asks for the Justice League, but there's not time. There is not enough time. So they're trying to get this Sonic Boom helmet in a bag with a walkie-talkie, because all you'll have to say is activate Sonic Boom.
And then it Sonic Booms.
Yes, it Sonic Booms. It's got a few charges, so they figure they get it down, they get it into the barn, or onto the barn. That is their first plan. That they can activate Sonic Boom enough that it'll collapse everything and kill the cow. You know, easy peasy. Don't even have to get any dirt on the hands. So then after that ensues our scene where Peacemaker is telling Eagly that he just wants him to simply fly the helmet up with the walkie-talkie in the helmet so they can do this thing. Everybody else on the team insists that it is a fucking eagle and it cannot understand him. But he insists.
Dude, did you believe in the magic in this scene?
I
Be
did.
honest.
I did.
Yeah.
I
After the hug thing, I was like, dude, Peacemaker's right. He's gonna fly the
I
helmet
know.
exactly
I was
where
like,
he
they've got a crazy bond, and Eagly's gonna do it. Eagly, after some attempting of not understanding what Peacemaker wants him to do, grabs the helmet, starts to take off. We see him flying towards the barn. It's gonna happen. They're gonna do this. They're finally, after all the stuff that's gone wrong in the last couple episodes, it's really gonna be this easy. And he takes a path off to the right and dumps the helmet in the forest. So that plan did not go to plan. So they've got to look for the helmet, right?
Yeah. Then they what? Like, I know there's like one scene in particular I have in my head that I want to talk about. So I'm like trying to think of the track we have to get on to get there.
To get up to it? Well, you can cut me off. I can try and get to it.
Yeah.
We've also seen that there's other helmets. I forgot that was the first plan. There was what was it? Anti-gravity helmet. So then Adebayo's explaining the plan. She's like, well, we're going to take the Sonic Boom helmet, and we'll take the anti-gravity helmet, and we'll say, activate anti-gravity. And we will... So right after she says that, we have the comedic scene of the anti-gravity helmet floating up in the air and away. Yeah. So as she's explaining that plan, it sounds great in theory, but we no longer have that helmet. So that's out. And then we also explain that there is it's shoved off to the side. There's a human torpedo helmet, but if you use that, you're probably going to break every fucking bone in your body. So it's not an option.
That's the chainsaw seed of this episode, brother.
Yeah, that's true.
They do it again. They fucking do it again.
I kind of saw it coming at that one, but we'll build up to that. Anyways, they end up... there's a crazy scene. Oh, I almost just passed over that. Where they're looking for the helmet. Nobody's having any luck. Oh shoot, what is it? Vigilante and John Economos are looking for the helmet, and they start arguing about something. It was really funny, but I can't remember what it was.
Was that the Green Arrow thing? Maybe that they said this episode.
I don't think so, but I do remember that. That was a funny point too, where they were talking about they could just shoot an arrow. Or throw something and have it hang on it. And Harcourt's like, well, you got any arrows? No, I'm just saying it'd be a good idea. But Peacemaker has a crazy scene where they're looking for the helmet where the ghost of his dad appears. And it's this thing where you just know he's going to be haunted now. By him killing his dad. And Harcourt kind of walks up behind and I think sees the whole thing where it's just him looking at nothing being like, oh yeah, well I'm going to kill you. And he takes out this poison dart and spits it out at the tree. And Harcourt's like, dude, are you okay? What the fuck was that? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. And she looks over at the poison dart, and sure enough, pretty close to the base of that tree is the helmet. So it kind of worked out.
Yeah.
And now they've also killed a butterfly in the process. They've gotten a disguise for our hero, who also, we forgot to mention, took out Judo Master by hitting him with a fucking van at the end of one of the episodes. He's turned into a badass after the chainsaw and the taking out Judo Master. He's now going undercover in disguise, butterfly outfit, and he's going to plant the sonic boom helmet, but he's got it concealed in a bag, going towards the barn. No trouble yet. He's in disguise, playing the role of Butterfly really well, and all of a sudden, the Fitzgibbon, the other detective opposite Sophie Song, Butterfly Man, he says, "Hey, where are you going?"
This is the fucking raw scene. This is the one. This is
why are you going into that
favorites
barn
of this whole episode?
And then he goes, take this bag in there, and you're like, oh god, there's no way it works. There's just no way. And then the Fitzgibbon Butterfly goes, okay, yeah, just checking in. Want to make sure everything was all right. Go ahead. And he goes into the barn and he just starts fucking throwing up from all the pressure and everything. He's like, I can't do it. I can't fucking do it. And they're like, bro, you just gotta walk down, get as low as you can, and drop the bag. So he starts to sneak down the stairs, and they go, you're supposed to act like you're there. Just walk down the stairs, man. And he goes, okay, okay. He starts walking down the stairs, and it's to the point where he's on one of the sections where he can stand on the staircase, and you can see underground, and he sees the cow. He goes, nope, 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 this is it. This is as far as I go. Fuck this. Fuck this. I'm pretty sure that's literally what he does the whole way back, and he's not responding to the walkie-talkie or anything. And this is the very raw scene where he's walking up, and he looks pretty clear. He's muttering to himself, so he looks suspicious, kind of. And then Fitzgibbon, again, he stops him. Goes, hey! And he goes, oh, shit. He goes, yeah? And then Fitzgibbon goes, why does your human dye their beard? Now, this is a callback because through most of the series, Peacemaker alludes to it when he breaks down in one of the scenes. He's constantly calling John Economos Dyebeard because he thinks that he dyes his beard. And if you're like me, through most of the episode, you're like, he doesn't do that. Peacemaker's just being a fucking asshole. He's razzing the guy because it's this hacker like dude, and he's trying to get street cred with the rest of the group or just look cool. And Chris breaks down Peacemaker earlier in the show about how he could probably be friends with Economos, but he's always making fun of his dye beard. And he just starts talking about how, like, he thought that it would get him more girls, and so he dyed his beard, but he didn't really do it the right way, so he didn't really get the roots. And then he said he didn't think anybody noticed up until recently, till one guy wouldn't stop fucking talking about it. And that shit really hits home.
Yeah, Peacemaker was like, damn.
Yeah, it's going through the walkie the whole time.
Yeah.
So it's it's like, holy shit.
It's like the most vulnerable moment that anyone has in the show, I think.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's really vulnerable for Economos, because I think most of the time, if Peacemaker's making fun of him, he just goes, fuck you, you know? So it doesn't really look like it really gets to him, but...
Yeah, well, he kind of has to, like, pretend that it doesn't, but then... Yeah, here it's like, damn, like, he kind of fucked him up, but it's like...
So they kind of sit in it for a beat, you know?
Yeah, that fuck you and shit is, like, stuff that Peacemaker's dad would do to him, and then he was like, yeah, he just fucking... That's how you interact with people. And now he's like, damn, that's kind of fucked up that I did that.
And then it's cut short because we have a butterfly, run out of the barn and say, this guy fucking set this down there. And he pulls out the helmet. And all the butterflies are chasing after him. Everything's going fucking crazy. They're about to activate the sonic boom. And Adebayo drops the walkie-talkie. So then Peacemaker, Vigilante, and Harcourt, I'm pretty sure it's the three of them, are like, we gotta save him. So they go in there and just start fucking shooting up the place.
I thought John was fucked in that scene.
Yeah, I thought he was
like it's like a zombie apocalypse type scene too, where like they all surround him and everything.
Yeah. So they're going at the butterflies. The sonic boom gets activated. So then all of the butterflies start going back, you know, and it looks like things are going well. They're kicking ass. The theme music is playing, like we said before, and then stuff starts kind of going wrong, and the music starts to kind of, like you said, gets a warble effect to it, and gets warped, and Harcourt gets shot, and Adebayo comes in. She's like, I gotta do something, and she just starts shooting everybody because she's got to go get Chris. I forgot about that. He falls into that shaft. You wanna take it from here? I'll let you close out the.
Yeah. We're like at the very end game, right?
Yep.
And they're like going, and they see the cow. First thing is it's like Goff, who was the butterfly, who's now like taking over Sophie's song, and she's like talking to Chris, and then Adebayo comes down and says like activate human torpedo with the human torpedo helmet, and fucking misses miserably. But then like at the end they have like this conversation between Goff and Peacemaker, and it's like she talks about how their species like destroyed themselves by like doing like ignoring science and like all this shit, and it's like very obviously a parallel to like America now.
Right. No, I mean, yeah.
Which is like, yeah, it was insane to like hear that, like, and that's what I think the big strength of this show was. Like, it's like, dude, I can like, this shit is like here.
Yeah.
Like with
like
White Dragon and like this stuff, and it's like, well, we're like just trying to save you from yourselves, and it's like, damn, like they might kind of have a point here. But then she I don't know if she does just say, what do you say to him, or what it is,
it's
if it's that cliche or not. But then he says activate human torpedo. Adebayo kills the cow by launching into it. Peacemaker kills the last two butterflies that are down there, and they're done.
Yeah, Adebayo does not know what the fuck is going on either.
Yeah. He
says activate human torpedo and she shoots into that fucking cow.
Yeah. Sort of the end game they got there is it's like Harcourt and Economos are in the hospital. Economos like fucked up his shin on something.
Oh yeah,
that shit's fucked up.
He tripped over that fucking gate when he tried to go help.
And like fucked up his shin so bad.
Yes.
And then
gory scene.
Harcourt was like shot and like still lived though. And there's like you can see like a romance of her and Peacemaker that they're setting up for season 2, which got confirmed. Then Vigilante was there too. And then I'd say 3 big things that they set up for the next season after that was Adebayo, Waller's daughter, like spilled the beans about Task Force X, which is like, it's what the Suicide Squad was. It's what like the program Peacemaker was, where he was like sort of helping out the government in exchange for a reduced sentence.
Yep.
And then Waller was not very happy with that. At the end, Economos goes back to Belle Reve prison, which is like where the Suicide Squad took place and everything. And they have confirmed that there is another Suicide Squad spin-off coming. So I'm guessing that has something to do with that. And then at the very end, it's like Peacemaker sitting at his trailer. He feeds like what we assume is the last of the butterfly's food to Goff, the butterfly, being sort of merciful to him. And then as it zooms out, we see Peacemaker's dad like come back and like sit on the trailer with him. Yep. And he's got like this, Peacemaker's got like this blank look, and the camera just like zooms out, and then it just ends there
a little bit more.
Yeah.
There was just a lot of hard hitting scenes in that last episode, and I think the big thing was you didn't know what way Peacemaker was going to go, because when he was talking to the Goth butterfly through Sophie's song, because she's like, we're not so different, you and I scene, where she's like, we made a vow to not let this happen again. So we've come, and even though it's going to take away everyone's free will and everything, it will ultimately bring peace. And isn't that like what you're all about, dude? Peace at no cost? Come on, man. Just flip the switch. So you really don't know what way he's going to go.
Mm.
And then he does the human torpedo, kills the cow.
Yeah, Gunn said there was a time when he thought that he would have Peacemaker go the other way.
Yeah.
And it would end with the butterflies sort of teleporting the cow and starting over, which would have been fucking nuts. But I think this way makes more sense for how they developed his character.
Yeah, because through the whole Suicide Squad in the beginning of the show, it's peace at no cost, isn't it? Like, I want peace no matter how many men, women, and children I have to kill to get it. Mm-hmm. That's this whole thing in the movie, too. And we see that scene that kind of, I think, haunts him from the movie, where it's him killing Rick Flag, and he stabs that piece of the fucking porcelain from the toilet through his chest. And as he's dying, Rick Flag says, "Peacemaker." What a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's a hard-hitting line, too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's an amazing TV show. One of the best that I've seen in a while. Probably best since Breaking Bad. Yeah, good.
But also put into context how recently you watched Breaking Bad. Cause
that is true, yeah. I just watched it.
That implies that
year.
Peacemaker is the best TV show of the last 6 years, which,
I probably just watched it, last year, so it was a good show. But, I know you said... I would probably put it above Loki, but it's been so long since I've watched Daredevil. I do like that show a lot, so I think I'd put Daredevil as my number one superhero show. And then
I think talking about it, I'd definitely put it over Loki, because now I'm trying to think of scenes like that from Loki, and I can't think of anything really hard hitting.
Well, we also have to touch upon in the last episode very funny scene where Peacemaker throughout the show will drop these very hot, gossipy things about superheroes. He talked about how Aquaman fucks fish.
Oh my god, how did I not bring it up?
I know. He did a couple others too that are really funny. And just the whole time everybody's like, that's not true. That's definitely not true. And then the Justice League comes at the end of when they're walking off after the huge fight with the butterflies. Just they've won, but Harcourt, they don't know what's going on with her. They're just trying to get out of there, and the Justice League just spawns in. They're there. And Peacemaker's like, you're too fucking late, guys. You're too fucking late.
Yeah, and at first it just shows the silhouettes of it's Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and the Flash. So at first you're like, oh cool, they're showing silhouettes. This is kind of a funny thing. But then I'll let you go on with it.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact quote, but it zooms in so you can see it's Jason Momoa as Aquaman, his character, and Ezra Miller as his character, the Flash. And Ezra Miller says something about, why don't you just go back to fucking fish? Or...
No, Peacemaker says, go fuck a fish, asshole.
Oh, yeah.
Then Aquaman says, I hate that rumor. And Flash goes, it's not a rumor. Then Aquaman just goes, fuck you, Barry.
And it's one of those things that I think DC does well, and especially James Gunn, where it's kind of you hold superheroes at this crazy pedestal, and they'll never swear, or they'll never do anything very really human, especially conversationally. And I think it was just really funny that they had that exchange where he's just like, I can't believe people are spreading rumors about me, and then Barry just chimes in and he's like, that's not a rumor, dude. You do that. And then instead of just being yeah, or just not saying anything, no rebuttal, Aquaman's just like, fuck you, Barry.
Yeah, which I saw people were like, oh, this isn't how the Justice League would talk. And it's like, come on, man. Come on. First of all, it's a few second bit of a television show.
Yeah.
Second of all, literally, that's exactly how I would picture them to have a conversation.
There's, we talked about the comedy a little bit. There's a lot of serious parts in this show, but there's so much comedy in it too. It's so good. There's the scene, the actual scene, and then the scene that plays after the episode where Peacemaker finds out that they literally subbed his dad's fingerprints for his own fingerprints. And Economos is like, who else was I supposed to put fingerprints in for? And then Peacemaker just starts naming off all of these celebrities.
Yeah. I think my favorite one was Gunn posted an extended cut of it. And one of the names that he puts in the extended cut is those little cunts from Riverdale.
Oh, yeah.
Which is very good.
It's so good. But if you haven't watched the show, watch it. Especially if you have HBO Max. If you don't, I'm pretty sure you can get a 7-day trial. Get it for a weekend and just watch the show or watch it in your free time after work or class or whatever. Two
more quick shout-outs talking about comedy. But I will say first, like, there's some misses. There's some where Gunn's like using some like potty humor and you're like, all right, man, like
oh yeah, sure.
But two scenes in specific that are very funny that I want to shout out is the very first scene of the first episode where it's like him talking to the janitor, like about how kind of like summarizing what he did in the Suicide Squad, and also like adding some shit. Peacemaker, like, it's canon, he smokes weed now, so that's pretty good. And then later, the little classroom scene, where it's like him pretending to be, or not really, like coming as a superhero, as like the janitor from the first episodes. He's saying it's his daughter's uncle.
It's another one of those things that you think is a throwaway, but it comes back, right?
Yeah.
Especially since it's beginning of the episode, this guy's in a hospital. He thinks he's going to go to jail, trying to tell this janitor a secret. And he's like, can you keep a secret? And he's like, no way, man.
I ain't trustworthy for shit, is what he says.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm just going to tell you a secret. He's like, my lips are sealed. Or just something about like how he can keep a secret. He's like, dude, that literally contradicts everything you just told me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, then he comes back later and got the daughter at show and tell, and Peacemaker comes for the show and tell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was your other one?
Those were the two.
Oh, just the two.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. Yeah. No, I would definitely suggest this show, especially if you're kind of in between stuff right now and you want something to watch, even if you're not huge into superhero stuff.
I
would suggest it. Just because
it's I feel like a lot of the Marvel shows, people are like, oh, well, like, I have to have like this whole universe, and it's like you have to have like one other movie, and it's arguable that you don't even need that movie.
Yeah, I would say maybe it makes you enjoy certain parts better, and you get maybe some callbacks to Suicide Squad.
About the only thing I'd say you miss is like the Rick Flag flashbacks don't hit as hard. Yeah,
but other than that, you can really just watch it clean. And I wouldn't say there's any really outrageous, crazy superhero stuff, aside from the butterflies being the villain. But even then, it's just such a cool thing that, I mean, it's pretty easy to understand.
And even them with their motive is so grounded that, like, you still get into it,
Right. Yeah, but I would definitely suggest it. One of the best superhero TV shows and just really plain TV shows that I've seen ever, I would say.
Yeah. Now let me end this with this, Dan. They're making that other Suicide Squad spinoff. Who do you want to see get the spinoff?
Who do I want to see?
Yeah.
I would love to see Polka Dot Man. That was my favorite character. I fucking loved that. He was so good. I had no idea about... I'd seen the actor, I think, in some small roles before, but I just loved him. Do I think they'll do that? No, because... Well, spoiler for Suicide Squad if you haven't seen it. He's dead. They killed off so many people.
Squashed.
But I don't know. If I think about who it could be, I don't think they do Bloodsport because they're pretty similar, like, power-wise, right?
Yeah.
They can just kind of kill anybody with anything. But maybe King Shark.
King Shark. I would fuck with the King Shark show. I would fuck with that. Yeah, I think, I don't know. I kind of want it to be Ratcatcher too, but I also don't know, like, what they can really do realistically
cool.
with that for a whole TV show.
Right.
Because I feel like, I don't want to say she doesn't have any depth, but, like, I think she needs people to play off of as a character.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if she could stand alone. But I also probably thought about that about Peacemaker. So, shit.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Fair enough. Yeah, I just don't think they do Harley Quinn because Harley Quinn has so much animated stuff.
True.
So
Dude, that's another shout out the animated Harley Quinn TV show, dude. Holy fuck. I think we're both fans of that one now.
But yeah, it like you almost have to do a prequel if you do another spinoff because so many people die in that movie. Unless it would just be I just don't think they do like a Task Force X show because that's essentially just Suicide Squad. So if they're making another movie, then they wouldn't do that. But I could see Bloodsport. They're just too similar, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they could do a lot of stuff with prequel stuff, or I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm sure it'll be good. Have to see if it's more the characters or if it's more James Gunn. I guess once another spinoff comes out that it affected Peacemaker, but I think my ruling on this would be a high 8 or low 9.
So we'll put you at an 8.5, 8.5.
You'll pencil me in for an 8.5.
Yeah, I'm putting you in there.
Cool. Well,
all right, yeah, I think that's the same for me. So
cool. I think we hammered it home pretty well. Really good comedy, but also extremely good story and action and everything in this TV show. A lot of people will love it. I would suggest getting an HBO Max subscription. Not going to shill for it too hard. We're not sponsored. You can also just get a free trial. I'm pretty sure they have a 7-day one. So you could watch the TV show and then decide for yourself if there's enough content for you. Just always want to get it or just get it when the next season comes out if you enjoy the TV show. But I think, got anything else to add?
I think we're good.
All right. Well, we appreciate the listenership. You can always check out the socials on Facebook or Twitter, and we've got our link tree on those spots, so you can always just go to
tell
our
them where
link
they
tree.
can find the Twitter at, Dan. Tell them the at.
The Twitter is at Table for Kids, and then the Facebook is just Stuck at the Kids Table, and it should be easy to find because the profile picture for both of them is the iconic kids table that we have for our profile picture on Spotify or all of our podcast stuff and for YouTube. So you can always just look for that picture to find our socials. Linktree is usually in the bio. You can always just click that Linktree to go straight to your favorite spot to listen to the podcast. But we'll go ahead and wrap it up with that for this week. Our Spoilercast episode of Peacemaker. We will be back to your regular everyday programming next Wednesday.
See you.